1, 2, 3. Don't F with me, the podcast. Yeah.
Don't f with me.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Don't F With Me, the podcast. I'm your host, Chubby.
And I'm also your host, OG Tega, in the building. Don't know.
And we have two amazing and wonderful guests with us today. Two fantastic guests.
Welcome,
two delicious
guys.
guests. Two good-looking guests. Starting off with Jeremiah.
Hi, I'm Jeremiah. I'm an engineer, talent manager, and entrepreneur.
Hi, I'm Gbeke. I'm an architect and interior designer.
Okay, welcome, guys. All right, so Chubby, what are we here for? What are we here for, right?
So we're here to discuss something. We might shake tables.
All right.
It's a possibility.
All right.
Some tables might be shaking, and some people might be on those tables.
Tell me about it. I'm ready for shaking these tables. Yeah, I'm ready. We move.
All right. So what we're here to talk about? We're here to talk about stigma, right?
Okay.
And like stigma as it relates to, obviously there are many things that stigma relates to, but I guess what we want to focus on today is more so stigma as it relates to like sexual abuse, sexual assault, the sort of behaviors that we have around that, what our culture and our society kind of do, things that they do that may be harmful or helpful. I feel like there'll be more harm than helpful, but we'll get there. And like just stuff around that. So yes, I think maybe a good place to start off would be, why do you think that there's so much stigma, not even around the person who abused, but the person who was abused? And that's almost like the person that seems to carry the shame. Like, what
or
is
the
that
burden,
about?
right? The burden of
Like the shame or like the burden. And like, what's that about? Like, you didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
Something was done to you, and yet people want to be like talking about like, oh yeah, okay, but why was she there? What was she wearing? And why would somebody be walking there in the middle of the night? Why is nobody saying things like, why did he assault her? Or why did she assault him? Because
you know what I think, right?
Yeah.
I personally feel like there's a lot of mismatch in equality, right, in society. That's a fact. We can't dispute that. There's a lot of mismatch, and like guys are not held as accountable as they should be for the things that they do, right? So like guys are treated more leniently, and like it runs deep into the fabric of going down into like African Nigerian parenting, the culture around
one of the tables we're about to shake.
Yeah, like I'll speak facts. I'm here to talk about what's on my mind. I'm here to talk about what's on my mind. Like stuff I've been through and stuff I've seen on a daily basis. So it's like I feel the need to always want to like speak up on something, but like the sensitivity around the topic is always like, stressful for me. Like, do I do this? And like, when people see like a public figure, so to speak, quote unquote, like talking about some certain issues, you can only pick a certain side. Facts. And that's like being on the, like you have to toe the line. Yeah. So that's a very like tricky line for me. I think that's even a major reason why we even started this podcast.
Facts.
Just so we can speak what we want to speak and unapologetically speak about it, right? Yeah. So that's basically what it's about.
Do you feel like, because obviously it's quite interesting to hear from you that like as a guy, you're openly and honestly saying, guys are not held as accountable.
Guys ain't shit.
Oh, he said it.
Guys ain't shit.
He said it. And do you second that? Like obviously as a guy.
I mean, like definitely we've seen that. Can you touch on that? Right? We have a culture of victim blaming.
Yeah.
But I think especially in Nigeria, like men are enabled to like do nonsense. So like guys, like I'm with it. Like guys, we ain't, as a collective, we ain't shit. Like it's.
If they come for us. If they come for us. She said if they come for them. If they come for us.
Okay, so like Gbeke, right? So No, I'm not putting you on the spot. Like I'm including you in our conversation right now. So like recently, I saw a certain situation. Like I don't feel like I want to name names, but then like I feel like it would be a good scenario to like touch on in this. I don't know if you guys have heard of this story. So a guy, he kind of lied to this young girl. The girl was a minor, right? He lied to the girl about his age at the time. He was definitely above 18. He was like well above 18 himself. And then, he lied to this girl that he was a minor as well. So in the process, this girl supposedly now said, okay, because he's a minor, I feel like it's okay to hang out with this guy, to associate myself with this guy, and, you know, do, you know, have fun, like regular teenager stuff, right? So it also happened that 2 years later, this girl now discovers that this guy was not even a minor, and like he was about 6 or 7 years older than her at the time. And like that struck a nerve. And like she now came out and said, you know, this guy, you know, did this to me. Even though what they had was consensual at the time, definitely there's something called statutory rape, right?
Yep, facts.
And you know, as a minor, you can't really put the burden of, you know, good decisions on a child at that point. They are just, you know, they're just enjoying, they're just like flexing, they're just enjoying life. So are you now telling me that this guy in particular, as we are talking about, like should or shouldn't have like repercussions based on the fact that this is like, I think 3 or 4 years after the incident that has happened? Is this something that we need to take back in time to address? Is this something that we need to, you know, can we let it slide after 3 years? Like, I want to know, like, what's...
Okay.
I mean, what are your thoughts?
First of all, he lied.
Yeah.
That's like a very big factor in all of this.
Yeah.
Lied. And for him to have lied, he knew that what he was doing was wrong.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
Facts.
He lied about it, he said it, and it's statutory rape, like he said.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like we have to deal with it. There's no because if we don't, I'm sure that so many people that have similar stories as well. Like maybe now.
Yeah.
You need to speak up. People need to. Some people don't even see
As wrong.
because if you go on social media, people are focusing on the wrong thing.
Okay, take it from me as a guy. No, I want to do something, right? I want to be like the perfect antagonist. This my view from here on, right? From here,
Are we going to fight?
no, right? So from here on,
Thank God you people are between us. So.
I want to say,
But I can still reach you.
I want to say it for camera purposes, like
Okay.
from here on, it might not be 100% my views,
Yeah.
but I want to be like
You're
the
playing
perfect,
devil's advocate.
Yeah, I want to be devil's advocate, and I want to see why not.
Okay.
Do you understand? From a guy's
already
perspective,
know how I am.
right?
Oh, yeah, push me,
so
push me.
I'm willing to challenge you guys.
Here with the violence. So
Yeah.
we know it's not you.
Yeah. But I'm coming with everything, so
Okay,
be ready
come
for
with
me.
it, come with it.
Yeah. So like, as a guy now, she came out to me and said, oh no, she didn't even come to me. She just came out in the open and said, oh, this person did this to me. And I'm 3 years ahead in my life right now. Like I've done major things in my life. I'm doing major things in my life. I feel like I've progressed beyond who I was back then. Maybe I didn't know well enough. Like I can say, okay, I'm 18 now, and things I'm thinking about at 20 is still the same thing. They are still similar. But then I've progressed in life. Why are you now dragging me back to come and address this, even after I have apologized to you? Like, why? Why isn't sorry enough?
Did he apologize?
He did apologize.
He did apologize to her.
So
Anyways, apologize or not apologize, I don't even think that's the point.
That's not even
The point is,
My point is, when is apology not enough? Like,
So-
how am I supposed to continue with life? Like, if I say sorry and it's not enough.
So from my point, as you know, you said the guys were a muscle guy.
Yeah.
I'll give my perspective. Why? There's no amount of time I can go by. It's like, oh, let me live my life now, because that the victim, right? She's living with that trauma all the time, right?
Yeah.
So can we extend that same grace to her? I think.
So are you
A lot
saying?
of times in this conversation,
Okay.
we tend to focus on the abusers. We're like, oh, well, they are succeeding. Let's let them go now. By the way, these abusers never have repercussions. But we don't give enough grace to the victims. This lady and many other women.
Yeah.
They live with these things every day, and then they see the perpetrators.
I understand you, but do I keep apologizing every day? What am I supposed to do?
Yes. And the other point I was going to touch on was, okay, so now with this guy, right, it was statutory rape. For me, the only point you can get to, because some people like to bring up like restorative justice, right?
Yeah.
The only point you can get to where you can even start talking about restorative justice is, okay, let him go to jail. There's jail time for that act, right? Let him pay the consequences.
Yes.
Will that stop?
We
Will
need to
that stop
also-
her from living with it consistently?
But
no, but there's some sense of closure there. There is some sense of justice being had, and let's not.
I don't think there's
forget-
anything called closure.
There can
in that
be to a
sense.
degree. It doesn't mean everything is going to be okay. It doesn't mean she's not going to have triggers. It doesn't mean bad things are going to happen. But there is a difference between knowing someone wronged you and is paying for it, and someone wronged you and is living his best life.
It's like, oh, now you're just saying.
Are you
Okay, so
joking?
is it my fault that I'm a success, or is it my fault that I'm succeeding? Is that what's
No, so that's not
paining
even
this person?
it. What we're saying is it doesn't matter whether you're succeeding or not. What we're saying is that the debt needs to be paid.
Yeah.
You wronged, and let's keep in mind that there are two things here. It's not just that, it's statutory or she was young. Even if they were both of age.
There was actually coercion involved in that.
The agreement on sex was based on deceit. You lied about your age.
Okay.
If even as a grown-up, if I'm speaking to someone and we're talking about sex, if you lie to me and the person I think I'm having sex with is not the person I'm having sex, you're mad.
Yeah, I get.
You feel me? So there are multiple issues here, and the point that you're making about like with time, the passage of time, let's even be very clear. Whether he said sorry or not, I don't know, but there wasn't a lot of remorse from what I know in the way that he had his conversation with her.
Okay, if there was, would that have made a difference to the victim?
And wait.
That's not. No, so there are two things here. There's a difference to the victim, and then there's the societal difference. There's a difference to the victim in the sense that what can we do to make this victim feel as though, and in fact, this victim that we're saying is even
feel as what? What was the end goal?
To make her feel as though that yes, someone has paid for what they did to her. All right, there's been justice, and then there's also a societal thing of if this person gets away with it because he's so and so, or he has whatever status, whatever. Are we now telling people that? Do any kind of thing you want to do. Just be successful in the end, and oh boy, you're good to go.
No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. Okay, look at the fact that
to me, him saying sorry and like, then he can move on. He can't same way he can't move on. Every time it comes up, he should be able to address it.
my point is, even if I go to jail, even if I go back to jail, like quote unquote, this guy, even if he goes back to jail and spends like jail time, like I feel like this victim will still live with the trauma, right? She will still live with it constantly. So like, am I going to be in a state of constantly have to apologize? Because that's going to come up. Society is going to tell me in the next 10 years that you waited so and so girl 10 years back. You shouldn't even be here. And that will make me feel better.
Okay, maybe you can start off with maybe not raping the girl if you don't like that lifestyle.
Okay, yeah, that's first.
Maybe you can start off with that. If you know you're not about that lifestyle, you don't want people to be calling you a rapist in 10 years, you can start off.
Chubby, don't attack me. I'm not the guy.
I'm not attacking you. I'm attacking anybody that is supporting the rapist.
You can do like you can apologize and get it. Like if you said a few derogatory things in the past on Twitter, because there are people like that, they like to tweet like.
Okay, see the situation of like you said tweeting. Like, do you know?
It's different from raping someone. It's different.
Like to me, there's no price you can pay that is too much for what you've done.
There's no
price. So might as well kill me then, because there's nothing else I can do. Will you be okay with the death penalty?
No, but also what you need to know is that in a lot of these cases, you've tainted that. Not tainted. I don't want to use that word. I want to be careful about my language. In a lot of these cases,
they have trauma. You've harmed them.
You've harmed them, and you've given the person trauma that they may live with for the rest of their lives.
Someone can bring the argument that she was 14, right? And like she's out in a party all alone by herself. Like, what is she doing? Like late at night. Late at night.
This cup down.
You know, like I said, I'm not necessarily sharing these views, but then someone can bring up that argument, right?
It is rhetoric that is out there in society that people say, and that's the entire point about stigma. Is like, where are we putting it, and is it in the right place?
Exactly.
So yeah, someone could say yes, she's 14, and what was she doing at a party? Excuse me, Mr. Rapist. Even if she was walking on the street naked in the middle of the night on 3rd Mainland Bridge, it's not your business.
I'm sorry, but do you not have, isn't there like supposed to be like a fine line between being responsible and respectable to your own self for other people to
but then that's our
respect
problem.
you?
Because what's our definition what's our definition of responsible and respectable? If a 14-year-old is going to a party with her friends, with her peers, they're having a good time, they're laughing, it's a social gathering.
Okay.
I understand that some hunters, some predators will see that as hunting grounds.
That's where they do's.
But that is not what it is. And that's not what it's supposed to be. And if you see it as that, then it's a reflection on you and not on the people who are going there to have a party and meet their friends. If you see what I mean. Like, it's a party.
So it's my fault that I checked the girl and I knew.
Chike, Yatosi, you raped somebody.
Yeah. No, but in this, we're still talking about statutory rape. So you're saying like there's coercion involved, there was grooming involved, there was deceit involved. Okay. So that's understandable, right? That's understandable in this case. But my own argument or my other arguments will be like, for example, now she said, according to her, right, Like she put out a statement and everything. But then later that night, he kind of sent a dick pic, according to her, what she said. So he sent a dick pic and then she ignored the dick pic. But then later on, they started conversing again, and then she pressed for his age at this point, and she was like, she really wants to know. And so he said he's 16 going on 17. So that was the deceit, right?
Which was a lie.
Yeah, which was a lie.
Just so you know, so even that sending her an unsolicited picture, that's already sexual
harassment, right?
Thank you.
Yeah. That's predatory.
There's many layers.
Yeah, that's predatory.
There's many layers.
That's
And because
predatory.
somebody could say, and I might actually fight the person, but let me just say what they will say.
Yeah.
Somebody could say that, okay, he did something like that. He sent you a dick pic, so it should have given you some kind of indication as to the kind of person that he was or what he was after.
Right.
So why did you continue to have a conversation with him or further the, whatever?
True.
Somebody could say that, and here's what I will say to that person. After I punched them. I was going to say, excuse me, Mr. Rapist.
No, but yeah, like,
This is a child.
why is she not sticking to her guts though?
This is a child. This is a young teen.
Yeah.
Young teens have a limited. There's a reason why there's. I was about to say consent of age. Sorry, age of consent.
Yeah.
There's a reason why there's.
Is the age of consent in Nigeria not 11?
Is it 11?
I think it's 11.
That is a whole.
We need
That's another
to we need to fact check though. We need to actually fact check
We need
this.
to check that. We need to check that.
Yeah, I heard that it's 11.
It
'Cause
better not be 11.
There's like senators and stuff marrying 11-year-old girls. That's a different conversation in itself, guys. Like, we need to
But
unpack.
anyways, my point is, a child is a child, and you cannot expect a child to fully understand the nuances of situations like that. Whereas a grown-up might see something like that and begin to build a well-informed picture of this kind of guy, and he's a predator, and he's might be a sexual abuser or whatever. A child doesn't understand that. Keep in mind, this might be a girl who maybe she's in school, and the other girls who have received dick pics, and it's a thing about, oh, nobody has ever sent me a dick pic.
Okay,
Oh,
okay,
There's
I hear
things
you.
there, the
I hear you.
nuances.
I hear you, right? And this is a blank statement. This is for teenagers in general. This is for children in general. Yeah.
Don't forget your point.
Yeah, don't forget your point. Hold on to it. So, like, that was a blank statement. So, I'm talking about in this scenario particularly, that she knew that this guy was giving like fuckboy advances, right? So to speak. Like, he's sending dick pic. Yeah, and like she's ignoring it. That means she knows right from wrong at this point. Do you agree with me?
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
Because right from wrong is not black and white, especially when you're quite young.
What do you mean by it's not black and white? If I
So, for example,
if I started
she was-
avoiding a guy because he's sending me dick pics, right? I mean, it's something in my like, eh?
Thank you for saying that.
But even about people's emotions even waver. So let's even say is an older woman, an older lady, right?
Yeah.
25, whatever. You can talk to a guy like, oh, he's a fuck boy, and you're like, you're lukewarm, whatever. You even decide to go see him. And when you go see him, you can now decide on him that, okay, you don't want to have anything to him. Like, you can waver, it's fine, and it shouldn't be held against you. And that's the other point I wanted to make. Like, our society, we just really, I feel like we victim blame so much. We do something, it's like, oh, why were you there? Why were you this? We
Can you
give
see how
so much grace to abusers, and we don't give any grace to.
Yeah.
And to me, it doesn't make sense. And there's actually a scenario, because sometimes I try to think like, why have we evolved in this way, right? I remember in my high school, because I went to like a Christian boarding school, right?
Yeah.
And there was this example they would give about how, oh, a man can go and rape 10 women, do this, do that. He gives his life to Christ, and then it's all fine.
Yeah, it's all forgiven.
And that kind of thing, I mean, not you, but like the point you're making, like, at what point can you move on with your life?
Yeah.
I feel like we have that concept that, oh, someone can harm so many. It's mostly men. That grace gets extended to men.
True.
Women be just
True.
girls.
True.
They have this thing attached to them, but if it's a man, it's like he can do all this harm, but once didn't I say I'm sorry? Once he's sorry, then he can move on with his life. And I think we need to really shift that paradigm.
Yeah.
That's just my view.
Okay, but
In terms of the questions.
yeah, continue.
Like, we're asking the victims so many questions. Like, so many questions. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Why?
About the,
Why are we not asking the abuser those questions?
Why did you do that?
Yeah.
Why?
And there need to be repercussions, because
Yeah.
it's every time something like this happens, what happens to the abuser is giving a signal or a message to other abusers of what they can get away with and how they need to behave.
That is a whole
Yeah, it does.
When these stories break and I
Yeah.
see people defending
Yeah,
someone,
you know that.
my theory is that it's because they've already done something similar. They want to
Yes.
make sure it's
Yeah.
mutual. It's mutual.
Let me take us somewhere else.
That's the theory. I
So
have.
Let me take us somewhere else. A while ago, there was this story about domestic violence.
Yeah.
I'm sure as I'm saying these pictures are coming in your mind, right? He beat his wife mercilessly. Mercilessly. And she made this video that I think broke a lot of people's hearts. Because
Yeah.
you know her child was in that video.
Yeah, true.
And her
Her
child
children,
said,
two of them.
Two of them. And this is someone who just had a baby. And her child said, I'm sorry, mommy. He didn't fully he's a toddler. He didn't fully understand what was going on, but he knew his mother was in pain.
Shattered my heart.
And he said, I'm sorry, mommy. What happened? The person that abused her to that degree, not the first time and probably not the second time that he did that.
I won't be the last.
Let's not even get started on. And this person abused her. Please, can somebody tell me the end of the story?
Oh, we all know the end of the story.
We know the end of the story. They were reconciled.
A appointed person.
Official.
A very a senior ranked person, came and then said, okay, yes, you are now free to be husband and wife again.
It's still that concept of forgiveness and redemption, but at what cost?
At what cost?
Look at who is bearing the brunt.
And the thing that really annoyed me were the so-called woke, conscious, liberal, open-minded people that were saying, oh, I was feeling sorry for her before, but now she's a fool for going back.
No,
there were people who said that, oh, this woman is not, this woman doesn't like her life. Why did she go back there?
Are you serious?
That, okay, before I was even pitying her, but now she's gone back. They don't understand the nuances of abuse. And this is my point. It's the same thing we're saying about someone who is a minor. It's now what we're saying about someone who is being domestically abused, who has children in that home.
And she's old. She has agency.
Yeah.
Yes, she has agency. So that's the contrast, right?
At that point, we are asking ourselves, where do I go to? Where do I start my life?
Exactly. Where do I go to? Where do I start my life?
Exactly.
I came out against this guy and I spoke about him and nothing happened. And nobody came to help me.
Just put me right back.
And they just put me right back. In my mind, I feel like that man is not even sorry. I feel like he's going to wait for everybody to calm down.
And continue.
I feel like he's angry. Oh, you want to abuse me, Abi? You want to embarrass me, Abi? All these people all these cameras. These cameras will soon go home.
When you report somebody and then so you know that it should be
Even at the highest level, even at a government official level,
I think
the
that's
abusers
wrong.
are still not even being dealt with the way they need
That's
to be
wrong
dealt
on
with.
so many levels.
You know, and you know, again, talking about
so many
signals,
levels.
what signal is that sending to women who are abused and are thinking about speaking up?
Exactly.
What's the point of speaking up?
What's the point?
The only thing that is going to happen is he's going to be more angry, and now more people are going to know that I'm being abused, and there's going to be more shame attached to my name.
But what do you think, though? What do you think can be done as a progressive conversation, right? What do you think can be done? Maybe not necessarily attached to the law, because there's some places where the law just doesn't help. Do you understand? There's some places like that the law just doesn't help. But like progressively speaking, how can we there's so many things that happen today. We can trend topics. We can the whole NSAS thing came about. Just rally each other and have something, get the ball rolling at least.
I think it starts from here. I think it starts from tiny little conversations you have with the people in your immediate vicinity.
Yeah.
When someone said, oh, and this was someone that's quite close to me, because sometimes when people are close to you, you think they have sense.
True.
It shocks you.
Word.
It shocked me. When people are close to you, you think they have sense.
Yeah.
But again, emotional intelligence, I now need to understand that there's a lot of conditioning and programming that's happening with them. So they don't even fully understand that they themselves are a victim of a way of thinking. So
they're stigmatized, AF.
You better. So I think it starts with those conversations. I think wherever you are, whenever you can, when someone comes up with a statement that is somewhat problematic or not helpful, challenge it.
Okay.
Help to educate them.
Yeah.
When somebody told me that thing, why is she going back? She's stupid, she's this, she's that. I said, do you know what abuse is? And what that does to the mind over a course of years? Have you heard about things like Stockholm Syndrome? Do you understand that we live in a society where you're doubly victimized? You're being abused in your immediate vicinity by your direct abuser. And when you come out and you say, this is what has happened to me, and people send you back, that is the society further abusing you. So when you are in that mind state, so it's about having those conversations, enlightening people, and sometimes the conversations we even need to have them with our parents.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Sometimes it can get a bit dicey, but have the conversations.
I know. More recently, I've been doing that. A lot. Like when I came back, and I was like, there's so many things that's wrong.
When I came back, you want to know is I just
Hey, my God.
When I came back,
Why you attacking me? Why you attacking me?
Sorry,
when I came back from school that I went to, but my school is in another state in Nigeria. Why are you attacking me? Let me land with where I came back from. So I've been talking and having conversation with them. There's a lot of things that I've realized that they just kind of were inbuilt with, so to speak, like their time and their generation, they live differently. Like my mom was complaining the other time, like, your generation, you guys are always on your phone. So I like, this phone is one that's helped you like do so many things. Like if not for this phone, you wouldn't have been talking to me for the how many years that I was away. Like it has done more good than harm. And you should understand that this is a tool. It's neither good. Social media itself, in and of itself, is not good or bad. It's a tool. It's how you use it that it makes it like come out. So like spreading that conversation in a positive way, I'm not like abusing the victims or like shaming the victims or like saying, okay, why should you be doing this? Why? The questions that should be asked should be progressive. You should be making conversations that go into, okay, what was like, okay, maybe uni therapy, for example. Feel free to ask those questions, because this day and age, mental health should be spoken about like unapologetically. Were you going through a phase in your life? Were you depressed? What's wrong with you exactly? So it shouldn't be from a point of like shaming the victim, the abuser as well, but like to kind of like understand where their headspace was, because you have to be in a very dark place to think that you will coerce, you know, like a minor or you deceive someone to do something that they don't want to ordinarily do on their own. So that's a very, you know, sickening thing to think about.
So in philosophy, there's this concept. It's called like determinism, right? It basically means like where you are. So like your paradigm, your framework, your thoughts is a result of all the prior information you've had. And so that's why, you know, a lot of our parents, maybe my own parents, for example, they have views. Like growing up, like I admired my parents. I still admire them. But like there's views they have now, and I'm like, how do you have those views? Like it doesn't. It's a function of the information they had, the interactions they had that framed them. And that's kind of, even us as we've developed our frameworks, it's basically like all the education we had, the exposure we had, it's kind of led us to that path. And so that's why the point both of you touched upon, right, as far as having conversations, whether it's with your friends, things, educating people, sometimes it's hard. Like people, I've had people who, you know, I told them things and they're like, yeah, you know, you're stupid, you have this idealistic paradigm. And like 2 years down the line, like
they've changed.
They're very progressive. And it's almost like, so sometimes even when you have those conversations and it didn't make progress, you've actually laid a seed. Right? That's why I think conversations are important. The other thing is, like, I still think there's a lot of groundwork we should be doing, right?
Definitely.
So organizations like Stand to End Group, whether it's like donating for things like mental health, advocacy, or even giving women a space, right? So like now you're this man who's abusive, and if we leave it up to society, they're going to make you go back to him. Instead, now you have a chance to come out here. We can make you escape. We can give you a trade. We can give you something to do.
To
set that person up.
So that's something that I've done, you know. So even at work, like I've pitched a lot of like funding organizations like this, and it's something I do in my day-to-day life. Try to raise awareness of these kind of.
And that's good, though. That's a great thing, because we're not now limiting ourselves. Like, okay, the government should handle it now, or like, you know, so we're actually taking steps in our own personal lives, like your workplace. You know, people can gather friends even, because I know people that like today you can start a GoFundMe and like raise shitload amount of money for someone. Do you understand? So you can start that as a pet project. You can, whatever it is that you can do to help, you know, the conversation go further. So like, don't limit it to say, okay, the government will do it or something like that.
I just want to buttress what Dara said a bit. It is very hard, especially with like older generation, like speaking to them about these things, like it's a lot of unlearning for them. Sometimes they can't even comprehend. Like,
True.
It's really hard, and it's not. I don't blame them. It's what they've grown up with. But we have to continue. And like you speaking that to them, like it might not change them, but like it starts.
It lays a seed. like he said. It does.
So I think that's very important.
By the way, my name is not Dalao. You know, I'm Jeremiah.
High school. Jeremiah.
His name is Jeremiah.
So like I know even like men today that can't fathom the idea of their wives, you know, or their partners not being in the kitchen cooking every day. Like that doesn't make sense. Do you understand? That is it. That's a serious almost times 1 million. Because why? I'm like, do you not eat this food, brother? Or like, do you not enjoy the benefits of, like, do you understand? I say balance.
It's the thing about mindsets. Like we need to, wherever we can, like stab out problematic mindsets. And even just going back to what we're talking about, like stigma and abuse. I know we've touched heavily on dynamics and scenarios where it's a female who's being abused, whether that's a woman or a girl. There is a lot of stigma when it's a male that's been abused. People don't even want to talk about
Speak on it, sis. Speak on it.
I mean,
this one is delicate.
This happened recently. And I'm sure it's happened many times before, where someone came out on social media a young man talking about when he was a child and he was being abused by, I think in the house, abused by a member of domestic staff. Yeah, the help. And he said what had happened, and somebody commented under the thing and said, "Sure, say you know enjoy him."
I just
You know, that's the default of a lot of guys.
It's crazy.
It's a very weird thing to think about.
They need to change.
It's crazy. And that's what makes it harder for other guys to come out and say, this happened to me.
Yeah,
so
because they feel like
yes,
they're going to be attacked. And
so something that's been so traumatizing for you and has in a lot of times shaped your relationship with sex and the way you see it and the way you think you should behave in sexually charged environments. You don't even realize where it's come from, but a lot of it has come from that abuse. And so this is so deep to you, and you now finally have the courage and the presence of self and the open-mindedness and, you know, the strength to discuss it, and somebody is now teasing you about it.
Right.
You know,
like I like this topic because you brought up something one time, like during our conversation. We talked about how, for example, if someone asks for something like during sex, or if someone is like motivated by violence, so to speak, during sex, if that's their thing, like, how do you differentiate when it is mutual, consensual, and how do you differentiate when it's a trap? Like, there's some people that really get off on violence during sex, right? Like,
I'm watching Big Little Man.
Yeah, it's exactly.
It's like a bit of like BDSM. They want the choking, they want
they want the slapping, like slap me around.
Yeah, some people want to see blood.
Yeah, some people are even turned on by blood. They're not ready to go if they don't see their own blood, and it's creepy. But then, how do you now like draw the line and say, okay, this person is psycho, this person is beating me, and like, because I've heard a woman say, I want to stay with the guy, right? Or like, I'm not leaving this guy because even though he beats me, the makeup sex after is mind-blowing.
I know, I think you're blowing lines too. You're saying someone beating you and makeup sex all. And then there's now like, okay.
Yeah, but she said her reason for not leaving, like, I was having a conversation, I said, so why won't you leave this guy? Do you understand? Like, the thing is, are you aware that what he's doing is wrong? She said yes.
Like with BDSM now, right?
Yeah, okay.
It's possible for
They're
you
two
to
different things.
Yeah,
and that's why there's things like safe words, right? There's content, but if you get to the point where, okay, this is too much.
Safe words.
Mind you, come on.
My brother.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
Pineapple, stop.
And then even you should be able to respect that. But then when you're not going to the point of, he's beating me, but the makeup sex, that's
different.
That ties back.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So the first bit around, like, some people just prefer that kind of sex. I think there's a reason, again, thinking about age and consent and maturity, we mature to a place where we hopefully are able to understand the nuances around consent in situations like that, right? If it's mutual and is consensual, and there's that involved, and let me say he or she, because it doesn't have to be a heterosexual relationship, both parties are consenting to it, do what you want.
Okay.
You know, just
Easy.
as long as nobody does.
It doesn't go out of hand
for some people too. I don't know, maybe it's a thing, you know.
When the person is almost dying, or
and maybe asphyxiation.
When she's
like
almost
choking
out of
until
breath.
you're unconscious. Some people is a thing, no.
Yes, it's a thing. Do you understand? So people like are going out of so like
that was too specific.
I'm
That's
telling you because
let it be consensual or ever. But I think even as grown-ups, a lot of times you know when something is not right. She doesn't even have to say the specific words of I don't want to do this anymore. Stop.
Yeah.
Right.
There's body language. There's so many things. Is she drunk? Is she sober? Is she in full control? There's so many things involved.
Okay, I think we need to unpack this. So this is actually a full cooler in itself. We need to unpack this because I know some guys that feel like, you know, we've been out drinking, like, you know, she invited me out self, you know, like, she bought drinks for me, and like we're catching a vibe, and she was lit, and like we got home, you know, we're smoking, we're chilling and everything. So I make the move on her to start making out, and they're kissing and everything, and then it gets to close. She's like taking off my pants and everything. I said, okay, she's ready. So like she's taking off my clothes, I'm taking off her clothes, like it's consensual, we're doing this together. And then it gets to the point like she's fully like we are both stark naked on the bed, and then, you know, tensions are high, and then she just goes, stop. Like in that sense. And then some guys are like, but we've gotten this far. I don't think. I think you're still doing shakara,
Please say it.
Sometimes you have to stop right.
and you're still doing like There's a thing that guys think that you have to make the move or be the man, so to speak. Like, okay, you don't know what you want. She doesn't know what she wants. So let me just make the move.
You know what,
so am I supposed to stop like midway?
See, I'll tell you what, and because I think we need to better sometimes. There's definitely been a sense of guys we need to chase, or there'll be she might say no, or say yes. But those were very old. I feel like those are very, very old frameworks, and maybe in fact when I wasn't even sexually active, those are the kind of things I would hear when I was like.
Oh, so you're sexually active?
Like,
okay.
Focus.
Okay.
I have to focus now.
Focus.
Well, the point is like now, like it's not.
Okay, we don't follow those rules anymore. Is that what you're saying?
Like,
we shouldn't.
Enthusiastic, yes. One time, some of my friends make me joke like, oh, if you and this girl, you're vibing, you're in the bed, and at night she's like moving her bum close to you. What will you do? I'm saying, guy, if it's not enthusiastic, yes.
He said
True.
no. Exactly.
True.
Better. Yeah, because it stops.
Because I've been in scenarios, I'm arguing with the guy, or like we're guys talking, and then the guy's like, no, if you sleep with this, no, not sleep with her, but like if you sleep in the same room on the same bed, like say Apa no come on that night, like say this, like Jonathan, that kind of, and I'm like, this is problematic, you guys,
That's
you can't be.
problem. Because a lot of the people who should I shake this table?
Shake the table! Shake it! Come on!
A lot of the men who in those situations push.
Yeah.
A lot of them don't even push out of, I really want to be with this girl. No. A lot of them push on to say, my guys, them no say me and this girl, they really.
Thank you.
So something has happened.
It's an ego thing, right? Like you really should that thing.
So there is a herd hive mentality that we need to combat and fight as well. Do you understand?
Right.
Why do men feel as though if they go into a space where there is the opportunity to have sex and sex ends up not happening, somehow they have failed, or it is a reflection on their masculinity?
That's not true.
What kind of fragile masculinity
That's
is
not true.
that?
And this is for the younger guys that are listening. This is for the younger guys that are listening. Like, nobody, like, that doesn't take away from your masculinity, guys.
At
Like,
all.
it is not a sign that, okay, you are more manly or not more manly than the other guy. Do you understand? If she says no, it's a big no.
In fact, do you know, let me tell you,
It doesn't
let me
matter how
define a
far
man for
you've
you.
gone.
Let me define the man for you. Thank you.
Exactly.
Discipline.
Yeah, like this is jewels, like they're dropping for you.
I'm taking it back to stigma. Maybe there's a little bit of stigma around people who they feel like they couldn't close the game.
Some guys feel
And
like
that shouldn't be
they are not man enough.
It's problematic.
Yeah, some guys feel like they're not man enough to close the deal, to seal the deal.
And it's funny because it's not even, you're saying young guys. It's not only young guys.
No. I'm saying it for the young guys to learn, and I'm saying for the older guys to like, recalculate.
Stories of like, okay, there's this lady, right? Like one of them's friend has slept with her, right? And he's gone back to his group, and that's all part of like whole the way we discuss women, the way we objectify them, right? And then he goes back and tells his group, I had sex with that guy. He might have even lied.
Yeah.
Now, this is that guy.
Sure.
This is that girl. So now he's the roommate and he feels entitled. He's like,
I didn't this person.
this is my guy now. So it's now me that will not be the.
It's mad. It's actually mad. It's actually mad. And I'm saying
The entitlement.
it's not just young guys because should I say it?
No,
Say
it's all.
That's why you're here.
It's all. Yeah, it's a culture.
Recently, I went on a date with someone.
Ooh, okay.
You better behave your life.
Let me sip my tea.
We had an amazing time. Like it was fun. It was great. We had a good time. We went to multiple places, met multiple people. It was fun. It was chill. It was vibes. End of the night, my guy is like, all right, cool. Let's go home. Excuse?
Go
I
home.
said, yes, let's
Go home to
You go to your home.
I go to my home. My dear,
He
those
said-
are the only homes that we're doing.
He said, I thought you were coming home with me.
Because what?
Exactly. I said, because what?
Like in prior conversation.
No, he said, because we've had a good time.
No, I mean like you've been talking about.
Yes.
He sees that as the payment.
Yes,
Showing you a good
we've
time.
had a good time.
So
And again, back to what we're talking about, keeping in mind that for a good part of the day, we were around some of his guys. They've seen him with me.
Okay.
They say, my guy, this
They
girl,
dapped him up.
my
They
guy.
dapped him up.
So now, let's say that was like a Friday night.
Yeah.
Saturday morning now, they're going to be, guy, how was it? So he doesn't want to now give them the story of,
The
boy,
group chat.
nothing, no.
I mean, yeah.
You
I
know,
get
so
you.
it's that mindset. It's problematic. It's problematic.
Like men, we need to do better.
It's problematic.
We need to definitely do better.
Why? Why must there be a story? Why can't the story not be?
It was a great date.
That's all, nothing. See. So in college, right, I was in a fraternity, and we have what's called like formal. So every semester, over 8 semesters, you bring a date. It's a night of like drinking, dancing, very, very fun night. And I had multiple dates. So I remember one time I brought this date to form, and by 12, she's like, oh, I want to go home. I'm going to take her home. And everyone else, like some of my friends are asking, isn't she going home with you? So there's this. I mean, I'm like, why would you? Because why would you think she's like? Where does that entitlement and expectation come from? So, but the thing is, sometimes we want to make it look like, oh, people should have just been born and should just have known, and it's not always true. And the example I like to give is the same one. Like growing up, I actually really thought that, because everyone would tell stories like, my husband would me, toasted me for like 5 hours, 10 days, 5 months. So I always had expectation that, when I find the girl I like, that means,
you got swoon.
Those kinds of things have to be unlearned.
Yeah.
That also gives people think that, okay, yes, so see, you are wrong, you are stupid now. It doesn't mean there's room.
There's room for improvement. Yeah, there's room.
That's
true.
So
That's the largest room ever for improvement. Come on. Come through. Yeah. So like that mentality is actually very problematic. Every guy.
Question. Obviously, we've said a lot about what's wrong with these people who are abusers and the things that they've done wrong. Let's now actually even think, if someone, like you said prior, has changed, they're not the way they were before, maybe there was a lot of immaturity. I'm not saying immaturity is an excuse, but the immaturity was part of what they were going through, and they did some problematic shit. And now they're different. What is the right way to respond in a situation where someone calls you out on your shit? And what's the right thing to do?
I'm not sure about that, but one thing I'm sure about is do not do is then theme the video saying that
Do not do what?
don't tell them a couple of months and come back
and do yoga
and be fully spiritual. Don't do
Your
that.
chakras have been balanced.
Okay.
Chakras have been balanced.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, don't
Yeah.
do that, 'cause
Yeah.
Yeah, why not idiot?
And it's insensitive as
Shake
well.
the table, please. Shake the table.
Yeah.
Okay, so even if we're not 100% hitting the nail on the head of what you should do yet, like I think we're starting from what you shouldn't do, right?
Yeah.
What you shouldn't even do it.
Do for sure.
Yeah. I think in terms of like what you should do is, I think I might be wrong, I don't know, but I feel like there's a huge part of it which is the person who was like, just show some remorse.
Yeah.
Right. I think a lot of people don't.
It's so
It's
important.
more about
Show some remorse.
Don't ruin me, or they
Yes.
They're thinking about themselves first.
Yes.
Become defensive.
Yes.
So I think the content workshop, they have a set of like directives that for situations like this, and to me, because even with sexually inappropriate behavior, right, it's a spectrum. It can range from tiny things like sending someone an unsolicited picture or being suggested to them when they didn't, they weren't expecting.
They didn't, yeah.
All the way up to like more sexually violent behaviors. But like to me,
That's fair.
if anyone ever comes up, see whatever you want to do to me, like yes,
Yeah.
there's nothing. I'm just saying, like
Then there's nothing.
no, like if anything, like
disclaimer.
We'll take your word for it. Yeah.
Drive it.
So basically, don't be defensive.
Don't be defensive.
Don't be defensive in any way.
That's what you see every time.
Yeah.
People, it becomes about them, like, I want to protect myself.
Yeah, don't make
But is it okay to keep quiet and like let her do what she wants to do? Like let her get it out of her system. Like just don't respond.
No, I don't think don't respond.
No, don't respond.
Because not responding is a kind of response.
Exactly. It's like this person.
It's that you don't deserve a response from me.
Oh, okay.
Is it? I'm not. Accountability
Wait,
is key.
Okay, I have a question. Are we saying like, because he said, whatever the victim wants to do, you're allowed to do, and you're just supposed to like keep quiet and take it.
They want to
But from the perspective, like, so now, like, if the story, first of all, like, if you're really remorseful, right, before the victim even comes and break the story, you should have gone out, reach out to them in private. And
Yeah.
now, if the victim is like, I don't care about this person, sorry,
True.
I would still be in public, like, I
True.
I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, and whatever happens, I'm willing to, and that's why I'm like, it's a spectrum. So if it's something like a picture or a statement, right? Like, there's no jail you go to, like, there's no legal thing but it's still shitty behavior. So I'm sorry. Whatever the public opinion wants, I'll take it. Now, if it's something that it's actually like, you could go to jail
A
for,
crime.
if you want to true sorry to me, you should be able to take that punishment.
Yes.
You should be able to go to court and say, yes, I plead guilty. Whatever the system wants to assign me, let that happen. That's like the other end of the spectrum. But then you still have to come out and say you're sorry. Like, that's a given.
Yeah.
But after you said you're sorry, then however the victim wants to drive the conversation, that's to me that.
Like Gbeke, just before a question, like something that would be really great to even avoid the publicity in the first place would be to actually approach your, like, I don't care if you, like, 3 years later or 5 years later, approach your victim first personally and admit, you know, that you were wrong. And like, I didn't know, like, there's so many times that conversation around sexual violence comes up and you see it. And like, I know something in your mind is telling you that, that thing I did 3 years ago is borderline, no. Do you understand? It's borderline. So you, by yourself, go and say, hey, Joe, I'm sorry, I wasn't thinking right. Do you understand? Like, that will solve about 50% of the cases itself.
A lot of time.
Yeah. And like you said, if they don't want to,
don't add abuse on abuse.
True.
That's the thing.
True.
Don't add abuse on abuse. Yeah, cool. So I feel like we've covered quite a few things today.
We have
we
covered
might
a lot.
have been shaking some tables.
Enough tables, yeah.
Pick them up, throw them out of the window.
Don't know.
But it's all right, though.
I just want to advocate for my man Tega. See, he was just playing devil's advocate because if I meet someone that has those views, especially in that,
Oh boy,
he's
on site. He's on site.
Yeah. And that's for everybody else. Like, if you see someone that has those views, please don't be afraid to point them, call them
on
out.
Site.
Call them out on their bullshit because it's wrong.
It doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Uncle Benga, sorry.
Sorry.
With due respect.
Yeah, even they give, like, even they give you that Christmas money, say, wait, hold your money first. Let's talk. You guys are not on the same page as me. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, exactly.
If they give you Christmas money,
you drop it.
Hey, you hold it.
Yeah.
Oh, so on the same page.
Yeah, we're on the same page.
Because if you started counting money, I feel like,
no. I saw a few now, their Zikwe passing, but it's okay.
Yeah, so always call them out on their shit.
Agreed. Well, anyways, thank you guys for being part of this conversation.
Thank you so much. It was a very wonderful conversation.
Yeah, I think we had some good conversations now.
That's right.
And I hope we've sparked some things for some people to go
shook
on.
Tables.
And we shook the tables, man. We threw them out of the window.
Don't know.
We just said. So thanks, guys, for spending time with us. And thank you, everyone, for listening, for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Peace.
Thanks for hosting us.
Yo.
Don't f with me.
You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Don't F With Me Pod.
Don't hug the couch, my friend.
No, for
Move
you.
over.
Okay.
So we're also on all major podcast platforms. So find us there, and you can see the links to our YouTube. So subscribe, right?
Yeah. Should we tell them where to find us individually as well? Because I don't want to be with you all the time, you understand? On my own thing. All right, so if you're looking for me, you can find me on Instagram or Twitter at Chubby_oddly.
Okay, if you're looking for me, you can find me on Instagram at og.tega, so that's og.tega, and Twitter as theogtega. Boom.
Are we spelling? Oh, Chubby as in Chubby, and then _ODDLY.
Why do you have to copy me
I just want
all
people
the
to know
time?
that I can spell
Like,
too.
why do you have to be like me?
I just want them to know that I can spell.
Why do you really have to be like me all the time?
All right, I need to get out of
I
here.
hate you.
Don't f with me.